Is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, held to bring attention to the crime and educate people how to get help for themselves or others.
It's an important conversation to have. Human trafficking includes forced labor and sex trafficking. The U.S. State Department estimates more than 27 million people around the world are victims of trafficking. And while some would like to think that that's not a problem that we have here, it actually is.
It's in every community, I think you can say. Joining us now to talk more about Human Trafficking Awareness Day is Ison, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. Thank you so much for being here. Is that an accurate statement that it is in every community?
It is. I would think that it's an accurate statement. It is prolific and it can happen to anyone. It doesn't, regardless of color, race, national origin, gender identity, citizenship status. Anyone can be a victim of human trafficking.
And tell us about this Awareness Day that we have today, why it's important.
Yeah, we are raising awareness for human trafficking for that very reason, because traffickers prey on the poor, the vulnerable, the people from unstable homes with these promises of love and a job or stability. And so we really, and it's typically very young individuals, men and women, young men and young women. And so typically they are the victims. And so we need to raise awareness, and the public can really help us with that by noticing people who might seem to defer to someone, might seem to be coached by someone, or don't seem to know where they are, or don't have any of their possessions, don't handle their own money. These are all signs of someone being trafficked.
And we know that investigators want people to say something if they see something suspicious in any way. With getting this awareness out, do you feel like people are getting the message to look out for these things?
We hope so, because there are so many myths out there. For example, the mall is not a major epicenter of human trafficking. In fact, the internet is the major platform to recruit sex traffickers and also to solicit commercial sex. So the internet is really the major platform for that. In addition, a lot of people think that traffickers are have particular characteristics, but they can be diplomats, company owners, they can be gang members, they can be families, they can be acquaintances, they can be even strangers. But in addition to that, people think that traffickers are usually male. And so we have had several cases against women traffickers. So all of these myths we're trying to dispel, and just ask you to look out for signs of someone who appears to be controlled and have a lack of freedom, no movement of freedom, if you will, and that someone is controlling not only their person, but their movement.
And if you do see a sign and you have a feeling that something is off, how can you help someone in that moment?
There's a National Human Trafficking Hotline. I think you guys are going to show it later, but you can call that number. You can call our office at the U.S. Attorney's Office. You can call FBI. You can call HSI. We have so many federal partners who investigate these types of crimes, and we stand ready to protect these vulnerable folks.
We've seen so many of these stories through the years where people are being trafficked in a way that is just horrible. And a lot of times people don't know, or just think that's someone that they're with and that they're okay. What are some of the things that you can look at and spot that could possibly be a sign that someone is under that kind of control?
Again, they're not handling their own money. They don't have identification documents. They seem to be coached when they're speaking to. They're only when they're speaking to others. In addition to that, it seems like the person is exerting control over them. And so all of those are signs and to look out for.
And what about retaliation? If the people controlling them were to find out that authorities were contacted, I mean, what can happen?
We go through great measures to make sure we protect all witnesses and victims in our cases. And so that's no different than any other case, a case of violence, because it's a violent act as well. And so we go to great lengths to make sure that we stabilize these folks, put them in secure environments so that we can protect them. And so they need not worry about our commitment to keeping them safe. We get most of our cases from someone self-reporting and or a citizen, a third party, observing something and letting us know. And we stand ready to protect these vulnerable people.
Yeah, it's so needed. You mentioned the internet also being something to especially look out for. What are some of the things that parents or even just adults need to spot in terms of don't take this message, don't meet this person wherever they're telling you? How do you know when this could be a potentially dangerous
Children
situation?
are so vulnerable now on the internet, and so we just have to remain vigilant. When something seems odd, it likely is. In addition to that, one of our paralegals in our office actually found a victim because she was mentioning it on the internet, and she IM'd her and said, "We can help you." And we were able to bring her into the office and start a case as a result.
Wow.
And so we are so glad that we have dedicated public servants like that paralegal who was just on Facebook and happened to observe the message that she was, and what she was saying led her to believe that this person is being trafficked. And we have that case right today because of that kind of vigilance.
Amazing, just amazing. Dawn Ison, thank you so much for joining us today and for these important messages. As Terrence said, if you see something, say something.
Thank you so much for having me. We appreciate your interest.